Hello again everyone, it's me, Madam Macabre, and welcome to a new video. So, I have once again another story time to share with you all, and oh my goodness, this time it's probably the most insane doozy of a story I have ever shared with you all, and it's also quite recent. In fact, currently I'm still wrapping up the tail end of all of this, but I figured enough time has passed and I'm through the worst of it, so rather than, letting it be upsetting beyond a reasonable amount, why not turn it into something that I can laugh about now that it's passed, and hopefully you all can learn something from this. That way you don't have to go through a similar experience, learn from my stupid mistake. Anyways, today's story revolves around somebody who initially I just thought they were someone who had boundary issues and was extremely clingy to people they just did not know, but as it began to unravel, it got more and more insane to the point where I sit now, I'm looking back like, oh my god, who is this person and how did all this happen? So to start with, so you guys aren't just sitting here going, okay, on with it, for the sake of this video, because the point of this video isn't to try and go, this is this person's name, go give them hell. I'm dealing with the legal system to deal with them, so you don't need to do any digging or anything. The legal system will take care of it. I'm just sharing this story so you know of the experiences. So for the sake of the story, we're going to call this person Jane. So Jane, I initially started talking to online via social media. I think she started reaching out to me on personal messages on Instagram. See, I normally sometimes don't respond to a lot of messages to my social media because I get a lot, and I'm also very apprehensive and shy with people I don't know who reach out and privately message me. So a lot of the time when it's not like a comment out in public, when people try and personal message me, more often than not, if it's not directly related to work via one of my emails, I will oftentimes just not answer it. Mostly because my own personal, being paranoid and just safety, and, it would have served me well in this situation had I stuck to that general rule. But I decided to make an exception on this person for several reasons. So the first reason I ended up responding to this person is because they had claimed that they were my same age, that she was in my state, and that she, had followed my stuff, had similar interests, and was looking for making friendships. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm very shy and introverted. I know I'm talkative to my camera and everything, and I may not seem like it when I go to conventions and stuff, but I promise you, I'm an extremely shy and introverted person in real life. I wish I wasn't. I wish I was as outgoing as my ability to present so on cameras and stuff, but I am a very private, shy person, and I sometimes struggle making friends who are in my vicinity. I've got lots of friends online and in other states and stuff, and even other countries, but here where I can hang out with them, I don't have that many. So I was thinking, okay, she's the same age, has similar interests, this might be a potential friend opportunity. But the big thing that got me to open up and start talking to this person was because she hit a nerve with me, in that she was claiming to be in an abusive relationship. So she was pulling the battered woman card on me. And those of you who know some of my other story times and who know my friend Shadow Kisses, she dealt with several abusive relationships, and the most recent one she went through, I personally went over in the dead of the night, got her to pack all her stuff, stole her away, and I got her out of that situation when she was finally at a point where she was ready to leave. And I don't have any tolerance for abusers, especially physically abusive people. So when somebody comes forward to me as somebody who they are with someone they want to leave, they're scared, they're being physically abused, and they just need some encouragement to be able to leave and get their life together, that hit a nerve with me. So I figured, with all those other factors, alright, I'll talk to this person, maybe I can help her through this and we can build a friendship. Well, that would have been nice. if any of it had any truth to it at all, but we'll get to that a little bit later in this story. Just a warning, this story might stretch on a little bit long because, dear Lord, a lot of stuff happened. So, initially we started messaging on social media, and I was answering back and forth a little bit, and then when I was really into playing that Friday the 13th video game, she also wanted to play it, so she asked if I could add her on Steam and Discord so we could play together. So I allowed her to play with me and some friends, and it was fine. I mean, it was a little bit awkward because that's when the attitude started to shift. She was no longer like making conversation and stuff that, you know, to get to know people, and it shifted more to when there were other people around. It started to become, let me tell you every sad thing that's ever happened to me. Don't worry, that's not her. So she'd start telling everyone every sad thing that's ever happened in her life, like chronically oversharing all this stuff. And, you know, it's one thing to vent and everything, or to have a, you know, private discussion with somebody, but to consistently, every time you're around people, to start bringing up every bad thing that's ever happened to you, like in a bide for attention. Like this was a very, very, very frequent occurrence. At first, when it first started happening with the video games, it was one of those things, okay, this is somebody who's in a bad situation, you know, it's fine, we'll talk through her and give her encouragement and advice and everything. But after more than a month passes and somebody is still going on about the same things, not taking any advice, and they're just constantly demanding everyone's attention and sympathy, it starts to be a little bit exhausting on you. And with me personally, oh boy, where it started to take a turn for the worse was when she started messaging me and calling me on a daily basis, and not just a message here, a message there, call here, call there. We're talking, if I didn't respond fast enough to what she thought was an appropriate time period for me to be able to respond, even though I'm busy and I work and I have all these things I have to do, she would send walls of text. So my phone would get them in groups of like 10 to 12 messages. Mind you, I'm sitting in my office trying to record, trying to work, and my phone, as you heard that sound earlier, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Well, imagine that. You're trying to record, you're in the middle, you get a good take, then you get times 12. And you can imagine how that begins to irritate you, especially when you're like, finally, it's over. Okay. So that started to irritate me. And I would look over the message and it was always the same thing. It would be walls and walls and walls of sympathy fishing, and then a message of, oh, I hope I haven't annoyed you. Like, you know you annoyed me, but you keep doing this. You see, you know it's bothering me, so you go, oh, I hope I'm not annoying you, and then so I started getting spammed. Now, mind you, I really didn't know this girl. I didn't know this Jane. When it is a friend that I have known for a while and I have a really strong relationship with them and we give and take emotionally to each other, I am absolutely fine being there and helping you work through your stuff. Even if I'm not in a good place myself, I can handle it because we have that strong relationship and we're there for each other. But when I'm meeting a complete stranger who I don't know anything about other than, you know, the life story they try and give me to get sympathy, it's hard to be able to push all my attention back towards this person I don't know, especially because during the time all of this was going down, I've talked about it before, you guys, where I deal with depression myself, and I was having a really, really bad low swing for a while. I was in a bad place, and I was having a hard enough time just keeping my own head above water. So I really was not in an emotional place to be able to take somebody else's issues on top of my own. And I know that it's like, oh, that's selfish, but not really when you're trying to keep yourself alive and you're trying to keep yourself going. Well, you know your limits and you cannot take, like, it's taking every bit of strength I have to keep myself together. And I told her, I'm dealing with my own depression right now. Are there some other friends, or maybe there's a therapist you can talk to, or somebody, because this is not helping me. It's not healthy. I'm I'm trying to cope and I can't. And I would get a, oh, I'm so sorry, I won't do it again, followed by do 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 do. So it wasn't sinking in. She kept spamming me. It's like she knew I was dealing with my own depression, but she didn't care because she wanted my attention and she wanted my sympathy then and there. And if I didn't respond fast enough, she'd start spamming the hell out of me, calling, leaving messages. It was a nightmare. And I'm the type of person where, again, at this point in time, I still thought she was this, despite being obnoxious as all hell, I still thought she was this person who's going through a really hard situation. So I didn't want to be cruel in my responses, even though I was getting really angry every time I was trying to record or work. I told her I'm working and then my phone blows the hell up. But I tried to be nice, so I tried softening how I told her and going, this really stresses me out and it builds up my anxiety. When somebody sends me one message and I'm too busy to respond, you know, give me some time to get back to you unless it is an absolute emergency. You know, it stresses me out big time if you send me a message but you don't think I respond fast enough, so you spam me with 20 more, then I'm too stressed out to even want to read the first one you sent. It bothers me. And I know that's my own issue, but I communicated that and tried to make her understand what my comfort levels were, especially because this is somebody I'm still just getting to know. Well, that didn't seem to matter because she wanted what she wanted. She wanted my undivided, undisputed, absolute attention at her beck and call when she demanded it, and she wanted my sympathy, and it just wasn't a healthy setup for trying to build a friendship, and that's kind of the point where I realized that this wasn't gonna work out for me. All it was doing was causing my own depression to get worse, my own anxiety to skyrocket. It was very unhealthy for me, so I was starting to teeter on the edge of, I'm gonna have to stop talking to this person because it is going to negatively affect my own mental health. And I tried telling her once more after I was recording, and I got 17. That was the biggest stretch of them I'd ever gotten. 17 messages, again, while recording. So imagine that chime going off 17 times in a row, sometimes staggered because the speed at which they'd come in. So you'd get, you know, 3 here, 5 here, 2 more here, just to the point where you think it's good, you're about to start recording it, and it just, to the point where I'm like, am I gonna have to turn my phone off for one person because she's the only one that will not respect the fact that I'm working and cannot talk? So I got a little cranky, but again, I calmed myself and told her again, you know, if you need to talk to me and I am busy, how about you call and you leave a message and I will get back to that when I am able. Apparently that wasn't good enough because she gave me the same response as last time. Oh yes, sure, I'm sorry, I'll do that. So she called one time, again, while I was working. She called another time when it was 2 a.m., so I didn't answer either of those, and I guess that offended her. So she, the next day, 25 messages, 25. After I had told her multiple times that it didn't bother me, I even tried giving her a solution to call me instead. But that wasn't good enough because she demanded my attention and she didn't care that it bothered me. She didn't care about anything but what she wanted. And I realized, you know what? This is not somebody I think I want to be friends with if they can't even try to respect my boundaries. And because since I didn't really know this person, it's not like I had this big friendship that would be difficult to break off. This is somebody that I just talked to a little bit online. So I decided, you know what? She's not gonna respect me. The last time I talked to her, I sent her a message telling her I didn't want to be blown up, and then I get 25, so I blocked her. Not a big deal, right? Somebody you barely know online who's been blowing you the hell up to the point where like you're freaking seeing red because you're so agitated, and instead of blowing up at her like, oh heavens did I want to, because I was quite done with that whole situation. One moment, my cat is trying to get the camera. Say hello. You gonna calm me down? No, you're just gonna look like you're brooding. Young man. He's teenager in cat years. Why are you so pathetic? Fine, go. Anyway, so I was, with this burst of 25 messages, I was livid. I was so angry that I typed up this big block of text to tell her that I was done talking to her. I was sick of her ignoring my own issues, that I had told her multiple times to go see a therapist if she needed to just vent to somebody non-stop, and that I was not able to help her because of my own condition, and that I was not qualified to be able to help her, and that she was continuously disrespecting my wishes, so I didn't want to have anything to do with her from there on forward. And before I sent it, I stopped myself, because I realized that, again, if this is somebody who's fragile or whatever, that is not gonna help anything. So I restrained myself, deleted the message, and just blocked her. Because that was, at that point, I was so irritated with her, there was nothing I could say that was going to come off as not harsh and harmful to somebody who is claiming to be, you know, in this horrible abusive situation that she keeps going back and forth on. So, you know, I'm like, okay, well, I can't say anything nice, don't say anything. So I just blocked her out. She had disrespected my wishes 3 times in a row in a very short period of time. I figured, okay, I tell you don't do this, you do it. I tell you don't do this, you do it. I tell you do not do this, you do it. If I block you, it should be pretty clear as to why I blocked you at that point. I shouldn't have to give you A, B, C, especially when I can't restrain myself because I'm so agitated with you. I'm no longer gonna be soft in my words, and who knows what kind of effect that could have had if she was actually in the situation she claimed to be in. Okay, we are moving into part 2 of the story. This is where things start to get crazy. So Jane did not take well to being blocked. She did not take well to having her constant flow of sympathy and attention cut off, because when I stopped talking to her, my other friends who were talking to her because they felt obligated to because I was talking to her also stopped talking to her because they were being annoyed as hell as well. So all this flow of attention and sympathy she had been getting got cut off, and she lost her damn mind. So the first thing she did was start to send friends after me to convince me to start talking to her again. And I say friends because, oh, Jane. Very creative girl, very fond of making up fake personas. See, the first person to reach out to me was a Japanese girl named Haruko. So this Haruko was her friend who informed me that, why did you block Jane? She tried to kill herself last night because of you. You need to start talking to her again and unblock her and tell her why you blocked her. This is your fault. You need to blah 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 blah. To the point, she sent, you know, probably good 10 to 12 messages to my public Facebook because, you know, didn't have, this person was supposed to be a stranger, so I didn't have any of my other accounts, so they just went to my Facebook pages for my Madame Macabre and my Hexy the Clown. Sent 10 to 12 messages. After I read through the first one, I didn't even read the rest. I just said, I'm not interested in talking to her anymore. She disrespected my boundaries. I can't. So I sent that and I blocked her. Then comes Tessie, who knew of Haruko. There was also Marie, who knew of Haruko, and both of them were trying to tell me simultaneously about how, you know, they heard from Haruko this horrible things, and I think your YouTube fame is getting to your head. I don't know you, and you're gonna accuse me of things based on what some random internet stranger who's totally not you told you? And one side you're gonna start slinging? Okay. So with me not having any context, I'm just assuming, okay, this is one of her friends or whatever, and I was a little off-put by somebody who I've never even spoken to immediately accusing me of letting fame get to my head. First of all, I ain't famous. I got a YouTube channel. That's not enough to get to somebody's head unless you're a really big channel, then, but that's another thing altogether. Anyway, so I figured, okay, maybe this person is just emotional and they immediately jumped to one side because of personal experiences. So I tried to explain to this person exactly what happened so they would have both sides of the story so they could just understand that it wasn't me just randomly trying to make this girl kill herself or whatever she had been telling these friends who totally weren't her. I mean, at the time, I didn't realize entirely how suspicious it was because at first, I mean, it's not that hard to imagine somebody who is mad that you blocked them to send their friends after you to try and, oh, talk to them again. So there was nothing super suspicious yet. See, things didn't start to get really weird until this Tessie person started trying nonstop to get me to talk to Jane again. It was constantly, well, if you just knew what she was like, if you just knew her backstory, it's so tragic. You just need to understand, you need to talk to her. And it was starting to agitate me. And after getting contacted by 3 people, Haruko, Tessie, and Marie, I had had enough of this, oh, talk to her, talk to her, talk to her. And I said, I'm not gonna talk to her. And if she doesn't stop sending people to harass me, I'm going to get a restraining order. And something about bringing the law into this really, really lit a fire under Jane's butt because, oh my god, did this kick things up to an insane level after this point. So this is where things really get weird. So remember how Haruko was just Jane's friend and, you know, on her behalf trying to get me to talk to her again? Suddenly, through Tessie, I hear that actually Haruko is a hacker. And she now has my personal information and knows about my family and knows all sorts of things. And Jane gave her my information. And I don't know what the original purpose of this was, probably to try and punish me for blocking her, but at that point in time, you know, I had a hunch that this was all baloney, but at the same time when somebody tells you that, hey, this person who's mad at you gave your information to a hacker, you're gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this. So that's when I said, all right, I'm gonna go deal with the police then. And at that point, suddenly it was actually, she only gave your information to the hacker because she was being threatened. See, Haruko got her debit card number and she was sending men to the place where she works to harass her, and she was really scared. And my response is, I don't care. She still gave my information to someone with the intent to harm me. I want to go to the police because I'm uncomfortable with this. You brought my family into this. You brought my personal accounts into this. Like, how can you expect me not want to work to the police? But the way that this Tessie person was crapping her pants on Jane's behalf started to, you know, ping a little more of a suspicious radar than before. So at this point, having a hunch, I went, okay, Tessie, if Jane is just making up all this nonsense, if she's just weaving fairy tales and making this whole hacker thing up, she needs to own up now. This is her chance. Then I won't go to the police about this hacker incident. Because if I go to the police and they investigate and they find out she lied about the whole thing, that isn't gonna be pretty for her. Suddenly, wait, don't go to the police, don't, I'll talk to her. Wait a little while. She said she doesn't want me to be in the middle anymore, and you have to unblock her and talk to her and have a call with her. And at this point, I'm really like, this is really not fishy at all, right? So I said, no, that bridge is burned. I blocked her for a reason. I'm not gonna talk to her. Either you can get this information for me, or she can tell the police. Suddenly, okay, I get this freaking long paragraph about how it was only ever meant to be a prank for Halloween season. I made up the hacker thing, but I'm clearly bad at pranks. It was just a harmless prank, and now I feel really bad because I clearly am bad at pranks. First of all, that is not a prank, okay? There's a difference between harmless pranks and trying to scare somebody by telling them that their family is now in immediate danger because you've given their information to a dangerous criminal who has the capability of sending dangerous men to your address without you telling them. How is that a prank? So at that point, I was like, I'm done. I never want to hear from her again. I am seeking the restraining order. At which point, Tessie was still crapping her pants over, going, no, you need to understand. She doesn't need that. She doesn't need that. It would help nobody. It would help nobody. And at this point, I'm like, I don't think Tessie's a friend anymore. I think Tessie is another Jane. So I call her out and basically go, I know this is you, Jane. I'm done talking to you. I told you to stop talking to me. This is grounds for a restraining order. So I blocked her there. Turns out Marie was also a fake account. And I blocked Marie. So I block her. Then she makes 3 fake accounts to keep trying to convince me to talk to her, one of which she turns into this hacker figure to try and scare me, I don't know, and then when she gets scared that the police are gonna get involved, suddenly, oh, I'm just really bad at pranks. So all this passes, I am livid, and I'm just like, leave me alone, I want nothing to do with you ever again. And as pissed as I was willing to let things lie at that point. But Jane just couldn't freaking drop it. The idea, because I had at one point mentioned getting a restraining order, just the idea, the sheer gall of having to own up for something you did. You mean there's consequences for making threats? There's consequences for harassment? I'm above that. No, I don't deserve any consequences. Just her attitude, like she's crapping her pants over the possibility of consequences for doing illegal crap. Like, sorry, hun, you can't harass somebody and do crazy, this is crazy, it's all craziness. You can't harass somebody and stalk them and expect them not to want to serve you with a no contact order. What? How is this something that's strange to you, the concept of me wanting to have a legal document saying stay away from me because I told you to stay away from me? And you created 3 fake accounts to keep talking to me even though I didn't want to talk to you. That's what the order is for, so you can't keep doing that. But I digress. So things go quiet for a little while, then suddenly fake account number 4 pops up. This time right away I know it's Jane, and it's popped up as this girl named Anna, who speaks in interestingly like calculated broken English. Hello, my name is Anna. I'm a 14-year-old in Switzerland, and I apologize because English isn't my first language, but I need to confess. You see, it was not Jane who did these things to you. It was me. I found her blog on Gaia Online. She is saying I'm sorry, just my eyes about rolled out of my head into the stratosphere reading this. I found Jane's blog on Gaia Online. You were only talking to Jane for a short period of time because I stepped in. After you blocked Jane, I became Jane. See, I found her blog on Gaia Online, and after reading enough of her blog entries, I learned how to talk like her. I learned how to type like her. So I actually took over her accounts and I was talking to you. I made the fake accounts. I made the hacker. I did all of this stuff to try and fix your relationship with Jane because you do need to give her another chance. And by the way, don't pursue any legal action against Jane. She didn't do it all. It was me. Random 14-year-old from Switzerland. I confess, it was not at all Jane. It was totally not Jane. I found her on Gaia. It was me. Okay, thank you. I feel bad. She's a victim too. Bye-bye. Yeah, no, my response to that was just, I know this is you, Jane. I have told you so many times to stop contacting me. This is your 4th fake account. I am going to get a restraining order. And then I blocked the 4th account. And that is what brings us up to today. So I won't talk much about it because it's an open case right now, but I am actually working with legal representation because I am going to serve her. And no joke, this little girl, she's 26, but she's a little girl mentally and emotionally, had the nerve to try and taunt me by saying things like, the police won't actually do anything. They don't actually track IP addresses, and they don't actually care about online drama. Honey, it's very easy to track IP addresses. It's not difficult. It is something possible. It's not sci-fi. And I very much assure you, my legal representation assures you, the police do care about online drama when it involves stalking, threatening, and harassing. Also, my legal representation that also had a detective looking into her found some interesting things. So this is where I get really freaking salty and I feel extremely used at this point. You know how way back at the beginning of this long and arduous journey, I told you I started talking to her because she played the battered woman card and that's how she was getting a lot of sympathy and that's why I filtered myself and did a lot of stuff for her? Turns out, according to my detective, the fiancé never existed. He's fake. She made him up. So, she's not engaged, she's not a battered woman, there was never a man in the picture to hit her. So if she had not lied about that, I never would have even talked to her in the first place and I never would have even been in this situation to begin with. So I am just a little bit enraged over this whole thing. So if you're gonna lie about being engaged, you're gonna lie about being abused, you're gonna lie about being a hacker, you're gonna lie about being all these different people, what is wrong with you and how can you possibly not think you have done anything wrong and don't deserve, in the very least, to be served with a no contact order? All I want is what I've been asking for from the beginning. You to leave me alone and maybe, just maybe, learn from this experience and not be such a freaking creep in the future. Sorry for getting a little emotional there, but it has been a trying couple of months, I assure you. Anyways, this video is already ridiculously long, so I shouldn't keep rambling much longer. However, now that that's over, you know what I've been dealing with. So if I have been slow to respond to emails and messages and things, and that's also part of why the songs are so late, getting new songs out on my channel, because a lot of my spare time has been occupied lately working on getting my case together and dealing with this nightmare. So I hope that you guys don't have to go through something like this ever, and I hope at least hearing my experience can help you avoid situations like this in the future. But sometimes it's hard because when you run into a pathological liar that is just really, really good at what they do, lying, I mean, sometimes it's hard to avoid. But if you've been through something like this, you're not alone. Maybe, you know, that's something you can get out of this is solidarity. But I genuinely hope you don't have to encounter somebody like this, because it was an honest to God nightmare. But have you ever experienced something like this? Have you dealt with somebody who didn't just cyber stalk you, but actually physically stalked you? Do you have any crazy stories to share in that regard? Please feel free to share your experiences in the comments below. This is a good time. It's like a therapy session down in the comments below. Feel free to share that. And I hope you were at least entertained, if not, I know it's likely to piss you off, but I hope you got some entertainment value out of the story. Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today, so I will catch you all next time, and until then, stay creepy. But not that kind of creepy. I don't need any more of that.